Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. If this is your first time in this channel, thank you for stopping by and feel free to join the supportive family. And thank you to my host subscribers for all your support. Don't forget to comment, like and share this video so that YouTube can keep on recommending it to those who may also want to learn from it. Today's video is the cutting and the sewing of this beautiful dress you see me putting on. Let's get started. Welcome again, soulmates. So these are the materials that will be needed for today's tutorial. So here with me I have this Duchess material. This is 2 yards over here, so you can use any color you like. And I also have this ankara fabric. This is 2.5 yards, so you can see the matching colors on it. So I also have my drafting paper and my pattern master. I have this tiny piece of lining that I'll be using to line the Duchess material. This is the color I have with me right now. So for the measurements, you'll be needing your round bust, your shoulder, half length, gown length, round waist, round sleeve length, round hip, and your nipple to nipple. So to start with, I'll go ahead and rule out my starting line. So just go ahead and rule out your starting line like this. So this part is going to serve as a center front. On the starting line, I'm just going to divide my shoulder measurement by 2 and I placed it there. Then I added ½ inch stitching allowance to it. So then on that point, I came down by ½ inch. Then on that ½ inch, I'm going to mark my armhole length of 8 inches. So we all know how to get our armhole length. So then I'm just going to go ahead and connect my armhole length like this. So just go ahead and connect the points together. So this part is going to serve as the chest line. Still placing my tape on the starting line, which is the shoulder line. I'm going to go down by my half length, which is 16.5. Then I made a point right there. So I'm also going to be making that same point on the center front. Then I came down by 10 inches for my bust point. So you see me marking it right there. Then from the half length, go down by 8 inches, which is going to serve as the hip line. Then go ahead and connect the lines together. So after connecting, I went ahead to label the lines for more understanding. So coming to the chest line, just go ahead and divide your bust measurement by 4. Then you add 2 inches stitching allowance to it. Then on the bust point, whatsoever you have on the chest line, go ahead and place it on the bust point. So for the neck width, I'll be using 3 inches for the front and the back. Then from the front neck depth, I'll be using 4 inches. Then I went ahead to connect the neckline with my pattern master, so you can use your free hand. Then for the back neck depth, I came down by 1.25. I don't want the neckline to be too high at the back, so I went down by 1.25. Then I connected it this way. Then coming to the waistline, go ahead and divide your waist measurements by 4. Place it there and add 2 inches stitching allowance. Then add 1 inch for that intake. So coming to the hip line, divide your hip measurement by 4. Then add your 2 inches stitching allowance to it. Now at the hem, whatsoever you have right at the hip line, go ahead and place it on the hem line like so. You can see what I'm doing. So this is going to be in form of a straight dress. Then after that, I went ahead to connect all the points together like you see me doing. So after connecting, coming on the waistline, I'm just going to divide my nipple to nipple measurement by 2. Then I added ½ inch to it. So my bust span is 3.5. Then I added ½ inch to it, making 4 inches. So right there, I'm going to be placing that 4 inches on the waistline, on the bust point. So I'm also going to place it right on the hip line like this. Then also on the hemline. So go ahead and connect the points with a straight line. So at the waistline, I'm going to be taking my dart intake of ½ inch at both sides. So at the hip line, go up by 1 inch. So see me doing right here. Then on the bust point, go down by 1 inch. So then go ahead and connect this like this. So this is how we are going to draft your darts on your actual fabric when stitching the darts down. So just go ahead and draft it out exactly like this on your fabric when stitching down the darts. So coming to the waistline, I'm going to go down by 1.5. So you can actually go as low as 2 inches to 3 inches as you wish, but I decided to use 1.5. So I'm just going to be making a curve like this with my free hand. I'm not using any pattern master. I just want to use my free hand to make this. I think I like what I'm saying, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave it this way. So coming to the armhole part, I divided my armhole length by 2. Then I went in by ½ inch. So then I went ahead to draw out my shoulder slope like this. So after that, go ahead and connect your armhole length just like you see me doing. So you can actually use your free hand, it's nothing serious. So guys, this is what it's looking like. So we are done with the drafting of the front pattern. So this pattern, I'm going to be using it to cut out the back pattern. So as you can see, this paper is not up to my gown length. So while cutting on my fabric, I'm still going to add additional 2 inches to the length of the paper to give me my actual gown length. So right now I'm going to be cutting off the back neckline first, because as I said, I'm going to be using it to cut out the back. So the only difference between the back and the front pattern is just the zip allowance. After cutting, this is what we have. So right now I'm going to be cutting it on my fabric. So I went ahead to indicate this S, so meaning this is the side. So guys, this is it. I'm going to cut it on my fabric for the front and the back. So guys, I've gone ahead to transfer it to my fabric, and this is what the front is looking like. So you can see I added that extra 2 inches to the length, as I said earlier, to give me my total gown length. Then I also added 2 inches extra for sewing allowance at the hem. So right now I've gone ahead to cut out my lining for the back. So like I said, just leave 2 inches for the zip allowance before placing your front pattern on it. So go ahead and stitch up the neckline. As you see, stitch up the zip and the side. Coming to the front, I've gone ahead to cut out this black lining for my front part. So I'm going to be stitching up the neckline, the sides, and also at the down part, I'm also going to be hemming it. So guys, coming to this piece, just go ahead and divide this piece into 4. So you can see what I'm doing. Make sure you divide this paper into 4. I went ahead to connect it with a straight line like you see me doing like this. So after that, I labeled it 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to cut it out. So guys, after cutting, you can see the pieces right here. So I'm going to be using them to place on my fabric. So guys, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric into two, and I went ahead to roll out my starting line and also the line at the bottom part. How I got that line, I measured paper 4. So you can see what I did. So you can see what I did right here to get that line. So after that, there's also another line below. That line, I added 2 inches to complete my gown length, and I also added extra 2 inches for the hemming. So right now, I'm just going to be placing paper 4 like this. So when placing your paper 4, you make sure the part where I marked S is at the folded part of your fabric. So you can see what I'm doing. The part S is at the folded part of my fabric. So to know the actual space to place paper 2, go ahead and measure the width of your fabric and divide it by the number of slash on the paper you did, which is 4. So when I divided it, you see me marking what I got right there. So this is going to be the space between each paper. So I think I got 5 inches. So you see me marking it all the way like this. So on those points I made is where I'll be placing my papers. So I went ahead to place paper 3 on that point. So the next one is going to be paper 2. So just go ahead and pin this down. So after placing paper 2, I'm also going to place paper 1 like this. So you can see paper 1 is going to be the part that will be added to the Duchess material. So you can see. So paper 1 has the opened side of the ankara. So I went ahead to trace out the shape I have at the top of the paper, as you see me doing like this. So coming to the side of paper 1, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch stitching allowance to it. So you see me doing this way. So also at the top of the papers, I'm going to also add my 1/2 inch stitching allowance all the way like this. So you can see what I'm doing. I went ahead to cut it out. So just cut it out. So guys, after cutting it out, you can see what we have. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the papers. Then I'm going to open it up for you guys to see what I have right here. So you can see this curved part. So this one we have cut out is just for one side. So I'm going to be using it to cut out the other side. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut out the other side of the ankara, and I went ahead to notch the middles. So let's keep it aside. So guys, I've gone ahead to turn my fabric with my lining, so you can see what I have right here, both the back and the front piece. So right now I'm going to be placing my darts at the front and also at the back. But before placing your dart at the back, just go ahead and sew down your zipper. So just go ahead and sew down your zipper. So guys, this is what the front piece is looking like. So I've gone ahead to stitch down the dart, as you can see. So this is what the wrong side is looking. So I'm just going to cut off this excess thread. So guys, like I said, I went ahead to stitch down my zipper, so you can see what the zipper is actually looking like. And this is the dart and this is the right side of the back. So the next thing to do is for me to place the front piece right side facing the back piece. So then I'll go ahead and match up the shoulders, then I'll cover it up with the lining. So you can see what I'm doing, just match it up, then cover it up with one of this lining like this, then stitch it down. So I'm also going to be shaping the side. I'm going to be inputting my bust measurement and my waist measurement. So guys, after stitching down the sides, you can see what we have. You can see how beautiful it's looking. So it's time for us to attach the ankara parts. So I'm just going to turn the ankara to the wrong side. So you can see that curvy part is going to be at that upper part. So coming to the hem part, I'm just going to be pinning both the ankara and the duchess material together. So I will always advise you to start from the down part. So just start from the down part all the way to the top. So you can see what I'm doing. So just go all the way like this. Take your time and make sure you are pinning it down. So you can see how important it is to pin down before you take it to your machine to stitch it down. So it's very necessary. So you can see this curve right here. So after pinning the ankara to the front part, I flip it over, then I started pinning the ankara to the back piece. So you can see I started from the hem part. So just take it all the way to that curvy part. So you can see that curvy part at the top. So when I get to that curvy part, I'm just going to stop right there. Then I'm just going to arrange it properly like this. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to match up the middle of the ankara with that of the seam of the bodice. So you can see what I'm doing. So just after matching it up, you can go ahead and pleat the excess ankara parts on that space you have at the duchess material. So you can see what I'm talking about. You see this space, you are going to pleat all the ankara on it like that. So let me just go and do it and show you what it looks like. I've gone ahead to stitch it down and you can see what the back is looking like, and this is the front. You can see how beautiful it's looking. You can see when I turn it to this part, it's looking very beautiful. So if you stitch down yours very well, it's going to come out beautiful. So the next thing for me to do is for me to go ahead and attach the other parts to it. So guys, I've gone ahead to attach the other parts to it, and this is what I'm having. So I'm going to go ahead and overlock these rough edges. So in case you lined up your ankara and your duchess material, there will not be any need for you to overlock. So I'm just going to overlock all these rough edges because of the material is going to fray out. When I turn it to the right side, you can see how it's looking. So it's time for us to trim off the armhole. So if you have been following this channel, you should know how to trim off your armhole by now. So like we normally do in this channel, I'm just going to measure out my armhole length, which is 7.5. As you can see what I'm marking right there. I actually marked 8 inches, but I realized it was 7.5, not 8 inches. So from the shoulder, I subtracted 0.25. Then I curved out my armhole like this. So I'm just going to cut it out. So after cutting this part out, we are going to be doing the same thing for this other armhole. So after marking your armhole length, just on the shoulder, subtract 0.25 like so, then curve out your armhole like you see me doing like this. Then go ahead and cut this out. After cutting, guys, this is what it should look like. You can see my scissors was not actually sharp enough. Then after that, I'm going to be hemming the down parts. I'm going to be hemming the down parts round. So guys, I've gone ahead to attach my sleeve. So I have a video on how to attach this sleeve. It's called a cold shoulder sleeve. So if you want to know how to attach a cold shoulder sleeve, just check out that video. It's very well explained. And I've also gone ahead to hem the bottom parts. So this is what the back is looking like. You can see how beautiful it came out. So thank you for today's tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.
In the pool, talk to you, dripping wet. Nervous when I speak, so I trip on my